Garrett Wade saw the footprints at dawn, small, bare, already filling with fresh powder. He'd been checking fence lines since 5, breath white in the dark, 8 below. December in Glacier Country didn't forgive mistakes. The tracks appeared near the forest edge, staggering west, child-sized. No boot tread. Just toes, heels, desperation. He followed at a run, found her 50 yards in, collapsed against a pine. Girl, maybe 8, nightgown frozen stiff. Lips blue, feet black at the edges. No time for questions? He stripped off his coat, wrapped her, lifted her, light as kindling. He'd carried fence posts heavier than this. She didn't wake. The truck started on the 3rd try. He cranked the heat, laid her across the bench seat. Her breath fogged the passenger window, barely. "Stay with me," he said. Garrett Wade hadn't prayed in 15 years. He started the engine and drove. He hadn't touched another human being in 3 years. Now he was carrying a half-frozen child into the house. He'd been dying in alone. The kitchen was cold. He'd stopped heating rooms he didn't use. Garrett laid her on the couch near the wood stove, peeled back the wet nightgown. Her skin was mottled gray, pulse thread-thin at the wrist. He grabbed wool blankets from the hall closet, wrapped her tight, tucked them under her chin. No hot water. He remembered that much from the search teams 15 years back. Warm her slow or shock the heart. He fed the stove, opened the damper wide. Iron ticked as it heated. The phone rang. Marley's morning check-in. "Yeah." "Boss, you still out on fence?" "Come to the house." "What's wrong?" "Just come." He hung up. The girl hadn't moved. He checked her pulse again. Still there. Barely. 10 minutes later, Marley's truck rattled up the drive. The old foreman came through the door without knocking, stopped cold when he saw the couch. "Who's that?" "Found her." "Where?" "Forest edge. Barefoot." Marley pulled off his hat, held it against his chest. "Jesus, Garrett." "Call Rose. Tell her bring clothes, food, whatever she's got." "You call the sheriff?" "Not yet." Marley's jaw worked. "Boss, not yet." Rose Whitley arrived 20 minutes later with 2 grocery bags and the sharpness of someone who'd delivered calves in snowstorms. She took one look at the girl and pushed Garrett aside. "How long?" "Hour, maybe." "She wake at all?" "No." Rose knelt, pressed 2 fingers to the girl's throat, lifted an eyelid. Pupils reactive. That's something. She pulled a wool sweater and sweatpants from the bag. "Help me get these on her." Between the 3 of them, they dressed her. The girl stirred once, a soft whimper, but didn't wake. Rose wrapped her feet in clean towels, gentle as prayer. The blackened toes would need a doctor. Maybe lose some, maybe not. "She's warming," Rose said. "Color's coming back." Garrett stood near the window, arms crossed, watching. Marley fired up the coffee pot. "You think someone threw her out?" "Don't know." Middle of winter, middle of nowhere. Marley poured 3 cups, didn't wait for an answer. "That's attempted murder in my book." Rose touched the girl's forehead. "She's burning up now. Fever." "That normal?" Garrett asked. "Body fighting back. We'll see." The girl's eyes opened, dark, animal-wide. She tried to sit, couldn't, tried again. Rose caught her shoulders. "Easy, honey. You're safe." The girl twisted, shoved, scrambled backward into the couch cushions. Small gasping sounds. Not quite screaming. Garrett stepped forward, crouched low, hands visible. "Nobody's gonna hurt you." She stared at him, shaking. "You're safe," he said again. "I promise." Her eyes darted. Door, window, 3 strangers. Rose moved slow, held up a granola bar. "You hungry, sweetheart?" The girl's gaze locked on the food. Rose unwrapped it, set it on the coffee table, backed away. The girl lunged, grabbed it, tore into it with her teeth, chewing, swallowing, barely breathing between bites. She finished it in seconds, looked for more. Rose opened a box of crackers, set the whole thing down. The girl ate like she'd never seen food, like it might vanish. Nobody spoke. They just watched her survive. By evening, the girl was asleep again, this time natural, exhausted. Rose had coaxed her into eating soup, drinking water. She hadn't said a word, hadn't made eye contact except to track the food. Marley and Rose sat at the kitchen table with Garrett, low voices. "Someone did this to her," Rose said, quiet, certain. "Yeah." Garrett stared at his coffee. "You gotta call Hopper." "Tomorrow." Rose leaned forward. "Garrett, I said tomorrow." Marley cleared his throat. "She got people looking for her. They need to know she's safe. If she had people, she wouldn't have been barefoot in my woods." Silence. Rose touched Garrett's wrist. "What are you thinking?" He didn't answer. She stood, gathered her coat. "I'll bring more clothes in the morning, and we need to get those feet looked at." "Appreciate it." Marley lingered after Rose left. "You okay, boss?" "Fine." "You ain't fine." You haven't been fine in 15 years. Garrett said nothing. Marley put his hat on. Way I see it, God just gave you a second chance. Don't screw it up. The door closed. Truck engines faded down the drive. Garrett sat in the dark, watching the girl sleep. Her small feet poked out from under the blanket. Bandaged, still. Rose's careful work. He got up, checked the stove, added 2 logs, closed the iron door, waited. Opened it again, adjusted the wood, closed it, stood there, checked it again. The girl stirred, murmured something in her sleep. Garrett pulled a chair close to the couch, sat down, not touching, just there. In the window's reflection, he saw himself, 52, gray, hollow-eyed, a ghost who owned 8,000 acres. And on the couch, barely breathing, a child who'd walked barefoot into winter. She's not the one who needs saving, he thought. I am. He checked the stove one more time. By the 3rd morning, she still hadn't said her name. But she'd stopped flinching when he walked past. The 2nd bedroom upstairs had been locked for 15 years. Garrett stood in front of it, hand on the knob. The girl waited behind him on the landing, wrapped in Rose's borrowed sweater that hung to her knees. He opened the door, dust hung in the morning light, a child's bed with a faded quilt, stuffed animals on the shelf, watching, curtains yellow where the sun had touched them, everything smaller than he remembered. You can stay here, he said. She didn't move. He stepped aside. It's yours. The girl entered slowly, like crossing into a church, touched nothing, just looked. Garrett saw it through her eyes. A dead girl's room. A shrine he'd locked away because opening it meant bleeding. I'll get fresh sheets, Vorches, he said, and left. In the linen closet, he found blankets that still smelled like fabric softener from another life. His hands shook folding them. When he came back, she was sitting on the edge of the bed, very still. Bathrooms across the hall, he said. Towels in the cabinet. She nodded. First clear acknowledgement she'd heard him. He set the blankets on the dresser. You need anything? I'm downstairs. Halfway to the door, her voice stopped him. Thank you. Barely a whisper, but there. Garrett didn't turn around. You're welcome. He closed the door and stood in the hallway, breathing like he'd run a mile. Breakfast was a disaster. Garrett hadn't cooked for anyone in years. Eggs came out rubbery. Toast burned. He scraped the black off, buttered them anyway, set the plate on the table. The girl came down in clean clothes Rose had dropped off, jeans rolled at the ankles, a flannel shirt. Her feet were still bandaged, but she walked better. She sat, looked at the food, started eating. Garrett poured orange juice, set it beside her plate. Coffee? He asked, then realized. Never mind. You're a kid. She kept eating, mechanical, like it was a job. He made himself toast, sat across from her. The kitchen felt enormous with just 2 people. You got a name? He asked. She chewed, swallowed. Anna. Anna, he nodded. I'm Garrett. She looked at him then, brief, measuring, deciding something. Where's your family, Anna? Her jaw tightened. She set down her fork. Sorry, Garrett said. Forget I asked. She picked the fork back up, pushed eggs around her plate. They ate in silence. After, she brought her plate to the sink, rinsed it, set it in the dish rack like she'd been taught. Garrett watched her, 8 years old, maybe 9, old enough to have been trained, young enough to still be breakable. You know how to ride a horse? He asked. She shook her head. Want to learn? The smallest flicker of interest crossed her face. Come on, he said. The barn was warmer than the house. 6 horses in their stalls, hay smell, leather, dust motes in the light streaming through gaps in the boards. Marley was mucking out the far end. He looked up when they entered, nodded. Morning, boss. Anna. The girl stayed close to Garrett's side. This is Marley, Garrett said. He runs the place. Means he's smarter than me. Marley grinned. That ain't saying much. Anna almost smiled. Almost. Garrett led her to the nearest stall. This is Duchess. She's old and lazy. Perfect for beginners. The mare was a dappled gray 20 years if she was a day. She turned her head, looked at Anna with one dark eye. Go ahead, Garrett said. She won't bite. Anna reached up slow, touched the horse's nose. Duchess snuffled, warm breath on small fingers. The girl's face changed. Something like wonder. She likes you, Marley called over. You want to brush her? Garrett asked. Anna nodded. He showed her how. Long strokes, gentle, following the hair. She took the brush, started working, careful, focused. Marley came over, leaned on the stall door. Natural. She's got a way, Garrett agreed. They watched her brush in silence, the rhythm soothing, the horse's ears relaxed. Rose's truck pulled up outside. She came in carrying another bag, saw Anna with the horse, stopped. Well, look at that, she said softly. Anna glanced back, shy. Horses are good judges of character, Rose said. Duchess doesn't let just anyone touch her. Anna's hand paused, then continued brushing. Rose handed Garrett the bag. More clothes. And I brought boots. They might be too big, but we can stuff the toes. Appreciate it. How's she doing? Settling. Rose watched Anna, her expression complicated. She say anything about where she came from? Just her name? Anna. That's a start. Marley cleared his throat. Hopper's been asking around town. Word's out Garrett found somebody. He come by? Not yet, but he will. Rose touched Garrett's arm. You can't keep this quiet forever. I know. So what's the plan? Garrett watched Anna with the horse. Small girl, big animal, trust being built. Don't have one yet, he said. That evening, a routine emerged without planning. Garrett made dinner, spaghetti, nothing fancy. Anna set the table without being asked. 2 plates, 2 forks, 2 glasses. They ate. She finished everything, looked at the pot. More? He asked. She nodded. He served her another plate. She ate slower this time, not survival, just hunger. After, she washed the dishes. He dried. They worked side by side at the sink, not talking. The silence felt less empty than it had 3 days ago. In the living room, Garrett built up the fire. Anna sat on the couch, tucking her feet under her. The bandages were cleaner now. Rose had changed them that afternoon. He picked up a book from the side table. Lonesome Dove. He'd been reading it for 6 months. 50 pages in. Anna watched the fire. He read. She watched. An hour passed. You want something? He asked. TV's in the den, but I don't watch much. This is okay, she said. Quiet. Okay. She pulled one of the blankets around her shoulders, stayed where she was. Garrett turned a page, lost his place. Read the same paragraph twice. Around 9, Anna's eyes started closing. She fought it, jerked awake, fought it again. You should sleep, Garrett said. I'm fine. Upstairs. Real bed. She didn't move. You can't sleep on the couch every night. Why not? Because you've got a room. She looked at him then, testing something. Can I stay down here a little longer? Garrett set the book down. Yeah, you can. She pulled the blanket tighter, curled into the corner of the couch. He added another log to the fire, sat back in his chair. 10 minutes later, she was asleep. He watched her breathe, small chest rising, falling. The firelight made shadows on her face. Garrett hadn't felt useful in 15 years, hadn't felt needed, hadn't felt anything except the slow erosion of wanting to be alive. Now there was a child asleep on his couch because she felt safer in the same room as him. He didn't know what to do with that. The next morning, Anna tried the coffee. Garrett had poured himself a cup, turned around, and she was holding it with both hands. She took a sip. Her face twisted. She spit it back into the cup. Jesus. Garrett grabbed a towel. That's not for kids. She wiped her mouth, coughed. It's awful. That's what I've been telling people for years. Why do you drink it? Makes me feel like I'm doing something. She set the cup down, pushed it away. I'll stick with juice. Garrett poured her orange juice. Good choice. She almost smiled. He almost smiled back. It wasn't much, but it was something. That night, the screaming woke him. Garrett was downstairs in seconds, barefoot, heart hammering. The sound came from Anna's room, high, panicked, breaking. He took the stairs 3 at a time, threw open her door. She was sitting up in bed, tangled in sheets, eyes open but not seeing, shaking so hard the bed frame rattled. Anna, she screamed again. Garrett crossed the room, stopped short of touching her. Hey, you're okay. You're safe. She stared through him, gasping. Anna, it's Garrett. You're at the ranch. Nobody's here, just you and me. Her eyes focused. Found him. The screaming stopped, replaced by ragged breathing. I'm going to turn on the light, he said. Okay. She nodded. He switched on the bedside lamp. Yellow light flooded the room. Anna pulled her knees to her chest, wrapped her arms around them, her whole body trembling. Garrett stood there, useless. You want some water? She shook her head. You want me to get Rose? Another shake. Okay. He looked around the room, Sarah's room, and everything in him ached. Can I sit down? She looked at the chair by the window. There. He sat, kept his distance. They stayed like that. Her breathing slowed, the shaking eased. Sorry, she whispered. Don't be. I didn't mean to wake you. I wasn't sleeping much anyway. She wiped her face with the sleeve of her borrowed pajamas. I have bad dreams sometimes. That's okay. They don't stop. Garrett leaned forward, elbows on his knees. When I was your age, I used to have nightmares about falling, every night for a year. What did you do? My dad sat on the floor by my bed until I fell back asleep. Anna looked at him. Where's your dad now? Dead. Long time. I'm sorry. Me too. Silence settled. Outside, wind moved through the pines. You want to talk about it? Garrett asked. The dream? She pulled the blanket tighter. Someone was chasing me. I couldn't run fast enough. Who was chasing you? Her jaw locked. Doesn't matter. He's not here. He. Garrett filed that away. No, he said. He's not here. And he's not getting in. You don't know that. I do know that. She studied him, weighing, deciding. You promise? I promise. She breathed out slow. He said that too. The words landed like a fist. Garrett went very still. Who said that? Anna looked at her hands. The person who was supposed to keep me safe. Everything clicked. The bare feet, the terror. The way she ate like food might vanish. The way she flinched at loud sounds. Someone had promised her safety, then hurt her, then threw her out into winter to die. Garrett's hands tightened into fists. Anna, I don't want to talk about it. Okay. Can you just stay? He stood, moved to the floor beside her bed, sat with his back against the wall, legs stretched out. Like this? She nodded, lay back down, pulled the blanket to her chin. Garrett stayed on the floor. His back would hate him in the morning. Didn't matter. Garrett? Yeah? Thank you. Go to sleep, Anna. She closed her eyes. He watched the shadows on the ceiling, listened to her breathing even out. He said that too. Whoever had done this to her was still out there. Maybe looking for her, maybe not. Either way, Garrett wasn't giving her back. Not to anyone. When she asked him why he lived alone in a house big enough for 10 people, he told her the truth. Used to be 3 of us. 2 weeks in. The calendar turned to January. Rose's truck pulled up during breakfast. She came in without knocking, set groceries on the counter. Morning. Morning, Garrett said. Anna waved, mouthful of cereal. Rose started unpacking, milk, bread, canned soup. Found something in your truck yesterday. Garrett's hand paused on his coffee cup. She pulled a pair of small winter boots from a plastic bag. Brown leather, worn at the toes, laces faded. Child-sized. The kitchen went quiet. These hers? Rose asked. Gentle. Garrett nodded once. Anna looked at the boots, then at him. Whose? Someone who doesn't need them anymore, Garrett said. Rose set them on the table. They'll fit you, honey. Better than those 2 big ones you've been wearing. Anna reached out, touched the leather. Where'd they come from? Garrett stood, walked to the window, stared at snow. Rose answered for him. They're a gift. From who? From someone who'd want you to have them. Anna picked up one boot, turned it over. The sole was barely scuffed, hardly worn. She looked at Garrett's back. Try them on, Rose said. Anna slipped off the oversized boots she'd been shuffling around in, pulled on the brown ones, tied the laces, stood up. Perfect fit. She walked across the kitchen, stopped, walked back. They're good, she said quietly. Garrett turned around, saw her standing there in Sarah's boots. 15 years collapsed into one moment. Yeah, he managed. They're good. Rose touched his shoulder as she passed. I'll put the groceries away. You two finish breakfast. That afternoon, Anna wore the boots outside for the first time. She followed Garrett and Marley out to the barn, stepping carefully in fresh snow. The boots kept her feet warm, dry. She kept looking down at them. They fit okay? Garrett asked. Yeah. Not too tight. No, they're perfect. Marley was saddling Duchess. We're moving the horses to the south pasture. You want to ride along? Anna's eyes went wide. On a horse? On this horse. Garrett patted Duchess's flank. If you want. I don't know how. That's what learning is? She bit her lip, nodded. Garrett showed her how to mount. Foot in stirrup, swing the other leg over. She was small enough he had to lift her. She settled into the saddle, gripping the horn with both hands. Relax, Garrett said. She's not going anywhere fast. What if I fall? Then you fall. Snow's soft. Marley grinned. Boss is right. Falling's part of it. Garrett took Duchess's lead rope, started walking. The horse followed, patient. Anna swayed with the movement, tense at first, then gradually loosening. They walked the fence line to the south pasture. 20 minutes of cold air and blue sky. Anna didn't speak, just held on, watching the world from horseback. When they got back, Garrett helped her down. How was it? Rose asked. She'd been waiting by the barn. Good, Anna said, then, almost shy. Can I do it again? Tomorrow, Garrett said. The weather holds. Anna nodded, ducked into the barn to say goodbye to Duchess. Rose watched her go. She's settling. Oh, yeah. You are too. Garrett said nothing. Those boots, Rose said. That was a hard thing to do. Tone had to be done. Still, it was hard. He looked at her. She needs them more than a closet does. Rose smiled. Sad but real. Sarah would have liked her. Garrett's throat tightened. I think so too. Evening came early in January. By 5, the sun was gone. Garrett built up the fire. Anna curled into her usual corner of the couch, boots still on. She'd barely taken them off all day. You gonna sleep in those? He asked. Maybe. Your feet won't thank you. She unlaced them slowly, set them beside the couch where she could see them. Garrett sat in his chair, opened the book he'd been pretending to read for weeks. Garrett, yeah? Why do you live alone in a house this big? He closed the book. Used to be 3 of us. What happened? He set the book on the side table, looked at the fire instead of her. My daughter, Sarah, she disappeared. Winter, 15 years back. Anna pulled the blanket tighter. Disappeared how? Storm came in. I was out fixing fence, couple miles off. When I got back, the door was open. Tiny footprints leading into white. Searched for her all night. Sheriff brought teams, dogs, helicopters when the weather cleared. Did you find her? No. The fire crackled. Wind pressed against the windows. My wife left 6 months later, Garrett continued. Said she couldn't be in this house anymore, couldn't look at me anymore. Why? Because I chose the fence over checking on our daughter. Because I was a rancher first and a father second. Because she blamed me. He paused. She was right to. Anna's voice came small. It wasn't your fault, wasn't it? You didn't know. I should have known. Silence. Anna shifted, tucked her feet under her. How old was she? 7? I'm 9. Garrett looked at her then. You are? She nodded. When's your birthday? October 7th. That's a good day. My mom used to make me cake, chocolate with chocolate frosting. Her face changed. Used to. Where's your mom now, Anna? She looked at her hands. Gone. Gone how? Just gone. 2 years ago. She got sick, and then she was gone, and then there was just him. Him? Anna's jaw set. My stepdad. The word hung in the air like smoke. Garrett leaned forward. He the one who hurt you? She didn't answer. Didn't have to. He the one who put you outside? I ran, she said. Quiet. He was drunk. He gets mean when he drinks. I ran, and I kept running, and then I was lost, and it was dark and cold, and I couldn't find the road, and her voice cracked. Garrett moved to the couch, sat on the other end. Not close enough to crowd her, close enough to be real. What's your last name, Anna? She looked up. Why? Because I want to know who you are. Anna Marie Cooper. Anna Marie Cooper. He said it like he was memorizing it. I'm Garrett Samuel Wade. I know, Rose told me. She tell you anything else? That you're a good man, that you own a lot of land, that you've been alone a long time. She's not wrong. Anna pulled the blanket around her shoulders. I'm sorry about your daughter. I'm sorry about your mom. They sat with that. 2 people carrying dead weight. The knock came 2 days later. Sheriff Leonard Hopper stood on the porch, hat in hand, patrol bronco idling in the drive. Garrett opened the door. Leonard. Garrett, got a minute? Not really. Hopper smiled, tired. I'll be quick. They stood in the doorway. Garrett didn't invite him in. Word around town is you've got a girl staying here, Hopper said. Word travels. It does. You find her, or she find you? Found her. Forest edge. 2 weeks back, barefoot, half frozen. Hopper's expression shifted. Jesus, why didn't you call? Called Rose, called Marley, got her warm. That was the priority. The priority is also calling law enforcement when you find an abandoned child. She wasn't abandoned. She ran. From who? Stepfather. Anna Marie Cooper. She's 9. Mother's dead. Stepfather's a drunk who gets mean. Hopper pulled out a small notebook, wrote that down. You know where the stepfather is? No, and I don't care. Garrett, we need to talk about this properly. Not on your porch. Then talk, Hopper sighed. The girl needs to be in the system. Foster care, social services. She needs proper placement while we investigate. She's got proper placement here. That's not how this works. Why not? Because you're a single man with no legal relationship to her? Because there are procedures. Because... Hopper stopped himself. Because I'm trying to do this right. She's safe here, Leonard. I believe you, but the state needs more than your word. Garrett's jaw tightened. How long do I have? I'm giving you 1 week. Get your affairs in order. Contact social services. Start the process if you want to be considered for foster placement. But you can't just stay here indefinitely without paperwork. 1 week. 7 days. Then I'm coming back with a caseworker. Hopper put his notebook away. I'm not the enemy here, Garrett. I'm trying to help. Appreciate it? Do you? Garrett said nothing. Hopper put his hat on. She's lucky you found her. I mean that. But luck doesn't override the law. He walked back to the Bronco, drove away. Garrett closed the door, turned around. Anna stood at the top of the stairs. She'd heard everything. Are you going to send me away? Her voice shook. Garrett walked to the bottom of the stairs, looked up at her. No. He said you have to. I don't care what he said. But the law. Anna. He climbed 3 steps, stopped. Eye level now. I'm not sending you anywhere. You understand me? She searched his face. You promise? I promise. People break promises. I won't. You don't know that. Yes, I do. She came down 2 steps, close enough to whisper, what if they make you? Then I'll fight them. What if you lose? Garrett reached out, slow, giving her time to pull away, and put his hand on her shoulder. First time he'd touched her outside of rescue. Then I'll keep fighting, he said. Anna's eyes filled. She didn't cry, just stood there shaking. You're safe here, Garrett said. I don't break promises. Not to you, not ever. She nodded. Couldn't speak. He squeezed her shoulder once, let go. Come on, let's get some lunch. She followed him down. In the kitchen, Garrett made grilled cheese sandwiches. Anna sat at the table, wearing Sarah's boots, in Sarah's old house, talking to a man who'd just promised to fight the law for her. Outside, snow began to fall again. 1 week until Hopper came back. 7 days to figure out how to keep her. Garrett set the sandwich in front of Anna, sat down across from her. She looked at him. Garrett? Yeah? Thank you. Eat your sandwich. She picked it up, took a bite, almost smiled. He almost smiled back. It wasn't much, but it was everything. The town meeting lasted 20 minutes, long enough for 30 people to decide Garrett Wade was either a saint or a predator. The community hall smelled like old coffee and judgment. Garrett sat in the back row, arms crossed. Hopper had suggested he come. Show your face. Let folks see you're doing this right. And so here he was, watching his neighbors decide what kind of man he'd become. Anna was with Rose at the store. Safer there, away from this. The room filled slowly. Ranchers in work jackets, store owners, the Baptist preacher, Mary Kern who ran the diner, Frank Pullman from the hardware store, people he'd known 30 years, people who'd stopped asking how he was doing after the first 5. Hopper stood at the front, hands in his pockets. Appreciate everyone coming. I know it's cold and you've got work. I'll keep this brief. Chairs scraped. Somebody coughed. As some of you know, Hopper continued, Garrett Wade found a young girl on his property 2 weeks ago. She was in distress. He provided immediate care. She's safe, fed, warm. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. The county needs to follow proper procedure, Hopper said. Social services will be involved, but I wanted to give the community a chance to voice any concerns. Silence for 3 seconds. Then Mary Kern raised her hand. Is it true she was barefoot? Yes, ma'am. In December? Yes. Jesus. Mary shook her head. Who does that to a kid? We're investigating, Hopper said. Frank Pullman stood up. Didn't wait to be called on. My question is, why Garrett didn't call you right away? All eyes turned to Garrett. He said nothing. Because it looks strange, Frank continued. Single man, middle of nowhere, finds a girl and keeps her for 2 weeks without telling anyone official. He told Rose, someone said, and Marley. That's not the same as calling the sheriff. Hopper held up a hand. Garrett has explained his reasoning. His priority was medical care, or covering something up. The room went cold. Frank looked around. I'm just saying what we're all thinking. Why the secrecy? What's he hiding? I'm not hiding anything, Garrett said. Quiet, flat. Then why didn't you call? Garrett stood up. 6'2", 200 pounds of silence. Because the last time I trusted the system to help find a lost child, they gave up after 3 weeks. The room went very still. This isn't about Sarah, Hopper said carefully. Isn't it? Garrett, they stopped searching. You remember that, Leonard? Called it off. Said she was probably dead. Told me to move on. Garrett's voice didn't rise. Didn't need to. So when I found Anna, I made damn sure she was safe before I invited the system back into my life. Frank sat down. Mary Kern spoke up, softer now. Nobody's saying you did wrong, Garrett. We're just trying to understand. What's to understand? I found a kid dying in the snow. I saved her. That's it. But why keep her? Someone else asked. Why not hand her over to professionals? Because she's not a package. She's a person. The preacher stood. Garrett, I think what folks are trying to say is, we're concerned about appearances. A grown man, living alone, suddenly caring for a young girl. In this day and age, people wonder. Garrett stared at him. Wonder what? whether your intentions are proper. The word hung there like smoke. Garrett's jaw worked. My daughter died 15 years ago. You think I replaced her with someone else's kid for my own sick reasons? That what you're saying? Reverend? I'm not saying anything. I'm telling you what people think. Then people are wrong. Maybe so, but perception matters. Rose stood up in the middle of the room. I've been to that house every day for 2 weeks. That little girl is fed, clothed, safe, and happy. Garrett's done nothing but good. You're his friend, someone muttered. Of course you'd say that. I'm saying it because it's true. How do we know she's even happy? Frank asked. Has anyone asked her? She's 9 years old, Rose said. She ran from an abusive home and nearly died. She's not going to trust easy. But she trusts Garrett. I've seen it. Or she's scared to say otherwise. Garrett walked toward the door. Where are you going? Hopper called. Home. Garrett, we're not done. I am. He pushed through the door into cold air. Marley followed him out. Boss, hold up. Garrett kept walking. They don't know you like I do, Marley said, catching up. They're scared. People say stupid things when they're scared. Garrett stopped at his truck. They think I'm a predator, Marley. Some do. Most don't. They're just confused. Doesn't matter what they think. Then why are you so pissed? Garrett opened the driver's door. Because maybe they're right. Right about what? That I'm doing this for the wrong reasons. That I'm trying to fix something I can't fix. That I'm using that little girl to feel like less of a failure. And Marley grabbed his arm. You listen to me. I watched you fall apart when Sarah died. I watched you turn into a ghost. And I'm watching you come back to life because of Anna. That ain't wrong. That's grace. Grace. Garrett laughed, bitter. I don't deserve grace. None of us do, that's the point. Garrett pulled his arm free, climbed into the truck. I gotta go. Boss. He started the engine, drove away. Anna was on the porch when he got home, sitting on the top step wearing her coat and Sarah's boots. Waiting, she stood when he pulled up. What did they say? Garrett killed the engine, sat there. Couldn't face her yet. She came down the steps, knocked on the truck window. He got out. What did they say? She asked again. Doesn't matter. Tell me. Anna? I heard Rose talking. She said people were asking questions about you, about why you kept me. Garrett walked past her toward the house. She followed. Are they mad at you? Some of them. Because of me? He stopped at the door, hand on the knob. Go inside. Garrett, inside, now. She flinched. He saw it, hated himself for it. They went in. He shrugged off his coat, tossed it on the chair. Anna stood by the door, small and careful. They think you're bad, she said, quiet. Yeah. But you're not. You don't know that. Yes, I do. He turned on her then, all the poison from the meeting spilling over. You don't know me, Anna. You've been here 2 weeks. You don't know what I'm capable of, what I've done, what I've failed to do. She took a step back. They're right to question, he continued. Maybe I am doing this for the wrong reasons. Maybe I'm just a lonely old man trying to replace something I lost. You're not... You know what I did the night Sarah disappeared? His voice was cold, sharp. I sat in the barn and drank a bottle of whiskey because I couldn't stand to look at the empty house. And while I was getting drunk, my wife was packing her bags. By morning, I'd lost everything. Daughter, wife, any shred of being a decent human being. Anna's eyes filled. That's not... And you know what I thought when I found you? He was saying things he couldn't unsay. Knew it. Couldn't stop. I thought, maybe this is my second chance. Maybe God's giving me a do-over. Like you were some kind of cosmic gift to make me feel better about being a shit father the first time. Stop. You asked about the boots? He pointed at her feet. Those were my daughter's. She was 7 years old, same size as you. She wore them once before she disappeared. I kept them because throwing them away meant admitting she was dead. And now you're wearing them like some kind of replacement. I didn't know. Anna's voice cracked. I didn't ask for them. You gave them to me. Garrett stopped, breathing hard. Anna pulled at the laces, yanked the boots off, set them on the floor between them. I don't want them, she said, shaking. I don't want to be your second chance. I don't want to replace anyone. I just wanted... She couldn't finish. Anna, you said you wouldn't send me away. You promised. But you're already pushing me out. I'm not... Yes, you are. You're doing it right now. She ran upstairs. Her door slammed hard enough to rattle the frame. Garrett stood alone in the kitchen. The boots sat on the floor, small, brown, empty. He picked them up, ran his thumb over the worn leather. 15 years ago, he'd bought these for Sarah. She'd tried them on in the store, walked around, declared them perfect, wore them home, wore them once more, the morning she disappeared. He'd kept them because letting go felt like murder. Now Anna had worn them, made them hers, given them new life, and he'd thrown it back in her face. Garrett set the boots on the table, sat down, put his head in his hands. Outside, snow started falling again, heavy, quiet, erasing tracks. Upstairs, he heard crying, muffled. Anna trying to be quiet. He should go to her, apologize, explain. But the words Frank Pullman had said kept circling. Why keep her? What are you really doing? Maybe they were right. Maybe he was using her. Maybe he was incapable of love that wasn't selfish. The fire in the wood stove burned low. He didn't add wood, just sat there while the house grew cold. The boots on the table caught lamplight, watching him, judging him. I couldn't save her, he thought. What makes me think I can save you? Upstairs, the crying stopped. Silence filled the house like water. Garrett closed his eyes. For the second time in his life, he'd chosen wrong. And once again, a child was paying for it. She left the boots by the door and walked barefoot into the snow, the second time someone had done that on his land. Garrett woke at 7, late for him. His back hurt from sleeping in the chair. The fire had died. The house was freezing. He stood, joints protesting, looked at the cold stove, hadn't checked it, hadn't added wood. First time in 2 weeks. Upstairs, silence. He climbed the stairs, knocked on Anna's door. Anna, you awake? Nothing. Anna, I'm sorry about last night. Can we talk? Still nothing. He opened the door. Empty bed. Covers thrown back. Window closed. Room cold as a grave. Panic hit his chest like a fist. He checked the bathroom. The other bedrooms. Downstairs. Living room, kitchen, den, basement. Nothing. Then he saw them. The boots. Brown leather. Sitting beside the front door. Placed carefully. Side by side. And the door, unlocked, not broken. She'd walked out on her own. Garrett grabbed his coat, ran outside. Fresh snow had fallen overnight. 3 inches, and cutting through it, small footprints, bare, heading toward the tree line. His vision tunneled. Not again, not again, not again. He ran. The tracks staggered. She'd fallen once, gotten up, fallen again, kept going. Anna, Wind took his voice. He followed the prints into the forest, quarter mile, half, his lungs burned. Snow up to his shins in places, then he saw her, slumped against a pine tree, head down, not moving. Anna! He dropped to his knees beside her. She was conscious, barely, shivering so hard her teeth rattled, lips pale, feet already turning colors. What are you doing? He stripped off his coat, wrapped her. You'll die out here. She didn't look at him. Anna, talk to me. I don't want to make you sad. Her voice barely there. What? You said, she coughed. You said I'm a replacement, that I make it worse. So I left. Garrett's hands shook, putting his coat around her. Jesus Christ, Anna. You don't want me there. That's not... He stopped. Couldn't lie. Not now. I was wrong. What I said last night, I was wrong. You meant it. I was angry. At myself. At them. Not at you. You said I was wearing her boots like a replacement. I know. Am I? He pulled her against his chest, felt how cold she was. Hypothermia. Again. Because of him. No, he said. You're not a replacement. You're you. And I'm an idiot. She shook in his arms. I didn't mean to make things hard. You didn't, I did. He stood, lifted her light as nothing. We're going back. I can't feel my feet. I know. It's okay. I got you. He carried her through the forest. She didn't fight. Just let him. The walk back took forever. His arms ached. His back screamed. Didn't matter. All he could think was, 15 years ago, he'd walked this same path searching for Sarah. Found nothing. Footprints that disappeared into white. Now he'd found Anna, still alive, still breathing, second chance, last chance. He wasn't losing this one. Inside, he laid her on the couch, same spot as 2 weeks ago, history repeating like a curse. He built the fire back up, fast, hot, wrapped her feet in towels. They were bad, worse than before, white patches. She might lose toes this time. Stay awake, he said. Keep your eyes open. She tried, kept slipping. He called Rose. It's Garrett. I need you now. What happened? She ran, into the snow, barefoot. Silence on the line. Then, I'm coming. And she arrived in 15 minutes. Came through the door already angry. Where is she? Couch. Rose went to Anna, checked her pulse, her feet, her temperature. Professional, efficient. She's hypothermic, again. Rose looked up at Garrett. What the hell happened? We had a fight. About what? Doesn't matter. It matters if she ran barefoot into December. Garrett said nothing. Rose worked in silence. Warmed Anna slowly, got her drinking hot water, checked her vitals every 5 minutes. Anna's eyes closed, opened, closed. She's sleeping, Rose said. Let her. Her body needs it. She stood, walked into the kitchen. Garrett followed. Rose turned on him. What did you say to her? I told her the truth. Which truth? That you're scared or that you're cruel? Both, maybe. Rose's face hardened. You gave her those boots. You told her she was safe. You promised you wouldn't send her away. And then you, what? Changed your mind? Told her she was a mistake? The town. Screw the town. I'm asking what you said to that little girl. Garrett leaned against the counter. I told her maybe I was using her, that maybe she was just a replacement for Sarah, that I didn't know if my reasons were good. Rose stared at him. You told a 9-year-old abuse survivor that she might be a replacement? After she'd started trusting you? I was angry. At who? Her or yourself? Both. Jesus, Garrett. Rose sat down hard. You know what she's been through. You know what it takes for a kid like that to believe someone won't hurt her. And you threw it in her face. I know. Do you? Because she just walked into the woods to die rather than stay in your house? The words hit like stones. She said she didn't want to make me sad, Garrett said quietly. She thought leaving would be easier on me. Rose's expression shifted, softened just slightly. She's protecting you. Even after you hurt her, she's protecting you. I don't deserve that. No, you don't. Rose stood. But she needs you anyway, so you've got two choices. Be the man who keeps hurting her, or be the man who does better. I don't know how. You just do it. Every day, you wake up and you choose her over your fear, over your guilt, over whatever poison those people at the meeting put in your head. Garrett looked toward the living room, Anna's small form on the couch, breathing. She's not your daughter, Rose said. But she needs you to act like a father anyway. Can you do that? He didn't answer. Rose grabbed her coat. I'll come back this afternoon. Check on her feet. If they're worse, we're taking her to the hospital, whether you like it or not. Okay. And Garrett? She stopped at the door. If you can't love her without destroying yourself, you need to let her go, for her sake. She left. Garrett stood in the empty kitchen. The boots still sat by the door, abandoned, accusatory. He walked to the couch, sat on the floor beside Anna. She was asleep, face peaceful. No idea how close she'd come. He touched her hand, cold still. I'm sorry, he whispered. She didn't wake. He stayed there, watching her breathe, making sure she kept breathing, because if she stopped, he'd have nothing left to keep him alive. Anna slept through the afternoon. Garrett couldn't stay inside. The walls pressed too close. He went to the barn, cold air, horse smell, silence except for hay rustling as Duchess shifted in her stall. He stood in the center of the barn floor, hands and fists. The memory came like it always did, uninvited, complete. December 18th, 15 years ago, blizzard moving in from the north. Radio said it'd be bad. Sarah at the kitchen table, coloring, 7 years old, red mittens, yellow coat hanging by the door. Daddy, can I go outside? Not right now, baby. Storm's coming. But I want to build a snowman. Later, I promise. His wife Claire was in town. Groceries, doctor's appointment. He was supposed to watch Sarah. But the fence on the north pasture had broken overnight. 10 head of cattle drifting toward the highway. If they got out, they'd scatter. Take days to find them. Sarah, I gotta fix something. You stay inside, watch TV. I'll be back in an hour. Can I come? Too cold, baby. Stay warm. I'll be back before you know it. She'd nodded. Gone back to coloring. He'd left. The fence took longer than expected. Blizzard hit early. Whiteout conditions. He couldn't see 10 feet. By the time he got back, 3 hours had passed. The door was open. Snow blowing into the living room. Sarah! No answer. Her yellow coat still on the hook. Red mittens on the table. Small footprints leading out into white. Barefoot, he'd follow them, screaming her name. The prints disappeared after 50 yards. Wind erasing them faster than he could track. He searched until dark, until he collapsed, until Marley found him half frozen, incoherent. Sheriff brought dogs, helicopters, volunteers. They searched for 3 weeks, never found her. Not a shoe, not a scrap of clothing, nothing. She'd vanished into winter like smoke. Claire left 6 months later. You chose the fence, she'd said. You chose cattle over our daughter. I can't look at you anymore. She was right. He'd chosen the fence. Garrett's fist hit the stall door before he knew he was swinging. Wood splintered. Pain shot through his knuckles. He hit it again. Again. Blood on the wood. His or the door's. Didn't matter. He sank to his knees, hands shaking, bleeding. I left her, he said to the empty barn. I left her alone, and she died. And it's my fault. The horses shifted, nervous. I'm a shit father. Was then, am now. I hurt everyone I try to protect. His voice broke. I can't do this. I can't. The barn door opened. Marley. Boss? Garrett didn't look up. Marley saw the blood, the broken door, walked over slowly, crouched beside him. Let me see your hand. Leave it. Garrett, just leave me alone, Marley. Can't do that. They sat in silence, Garrett breathing hard, Marley waiting. Finally, she walked barefoot into the snow, just like Sarah. And I'm the reason. Both times. That ain't true. It is. I pushed Anna away. I told her she was a replacement. I made her think she'd be better off dead. You made a mistake. I make nothing but mistakes. Sarah, Claire, now Anna. Everyone I touch, I destroy. Marley pulled off his gloves, set them aside. You think you killed Sarah? I did. You didn't. And I left her alone. I chose fence over checking on her. What kind of father does that? The kind who works a ranch, Marley said. Quiet, firm. The kind who's got animals depending on him. The kind who thought his daughter was safe inside for one damn hour. She wasn't safe. You didn't know that. None of us knew. Garrett looked at him. I should have known. Oh, how? You got a crystal ball? You see the future? I should have. You should have what? Never worked? Never fixed fence? Never left her alone for 5 minutes? Marley's voice hardened. Garrett, she was 7 years old, inside a locked house, in the middle of the day. You didn't abandon her. You didn't neglect her. You went to work. And she died. And that's tragic. But it ain't your fault. Garrett's throat closed up. Then whose fault is it? Nobody's. Sometimes bad things just happen. Kids wander, storms come, the world's cruel, and we can't stop it no matter how hard we try. I could have stopped it. No, you couldn't. And you've been punishing yourself for 15 years for being human? Marley grabbed his shoulder. You were a good father. You loved that girl, and she knew it. If I was good, she'd still be alive. If you were perfect, maybe. But you ain't perfect. You're just a man, and men fail, and kids die. And it's awful, and it's wrong, and it ain't fair, but it ain't murder to be human. Garrett's vision blurred. I can't lose another one, Marley. I know. I can't. Then don't. Get up. Go back in that house. Sit beside that girl. And when she wakes up, you tell her you're sorry and you mean it. And then you do better tomorrow. And the day after. And every day until she believes you. Well, what if I can't? Then you try anyway. Garrett wiped his face. Blood smeared across his cheek from his knuckles. She almost died, he said. Because of me. But she didn't. You found her. Again, maybe that's grace. Maybe that's God giving you another shot. Or maybe it's just luck. Don't matter. She's alive. You're alive. And you got a choice to make. What choice? Keep drowning in 15-year-old guilt. Or save the kid sleeping on your couch right now. Garrett looked at his bloody hands. I don't know how to do this. Nobody does. You just do it. Every day. Like the rest of us. Marley stood, offered his hand. Garrett took it, got pulled to his feet. Come on, Marley said. Let's get you cleaned up. Then you go sit with her. And they walked back to the house together. Marley wrapped Garrett's knuckles in a kitchen towel while Anna slept in the next room. You gonna be okay? Marley asked. I don't know. Honest, that's good. Is it? Better than lying. Marley put his hat on. You ain't a bad man, boss. You're just a scared one. And scared men do stupid things. But they can also do brave things. Your choice, which one you want to be. He left. Garrett stood in the kitchen, looked at the boots by the door, looked toward the living room where Anna slept. Reversal 3. Sarah's death wasn't neglect, it was tragedy. A normal choice that ended in nightmare. Reversal 4. He'd been punishing himself for being human, for working, for not seeing the future. He was guilty of being a father who went to work. Not guilty of murder. The weight didn't lift, but it shifted. Just enough to breathe. He walked into the living room. Anna was still asleep, color better, breathing steady. He sat on the floor beside the couch, same spot as before. Anna, he whispered, I'm sorry. She stirred, eyes opened halfway. I said terrible things, he continued. Things I didn't mean. Things that came from old pain, not truth. You're not a replacement. You're not a mistake. You're Anna. And I want you here. Not because you fixed something broken in me, but because you deserve to be safe. And I can give you that, if you'll let me. She blinked, trying to wake up fully. The boots, he said. I gave them to you because I wanted you to have them. Because they're good boots and you needed them. Not because you're Sarah, because you're you, and you matter. A tear ran down her cheek. I'm going to fight for you, Garrett said. Hopper, social services, whoever. I'm going to fight to keep you here, if that's what you want. Is it? She nodded, small, certain. Okay then. He touched her hand. We'll figure it out. I'm sorry I ran, she whispered. Don't be. I'm sorry I made you feel like you had to. I was scared. Me too. She squeezed his hand. Weak but there. Can you stay? She asked. Until I fall back asleep? Yeah, I can stay. She closed her eyes, held his hand. Garrett sat on the floor, back against the couch, watching the fire burn low. Outside, the sun was setting, orange light on snow. Anna's breathing evened out, sleep taking her gently this time. Garrett didn't move, didn't check the stove, didn't stand, just stayed, because staying was all he had left to give. And maybe, just maybe, it was enough. For 2 days, he stayed in the barn while she stayed in the house. 2 people alone, in the same 10 acres. Garrett woke in the barn, on a bed of hay. Couldn't remember walking here. Must have been after Anna fell asleep. After he'd checked her breathing one more time, added wood to the stove, stood in the hallway, outside her room, listening to make sure she was alive. Then came out here to sleep because he didn't trust himself in that house. Morning light cut through the gaps in the boards. 6 a.m. cold, but not killing cold. Something had shifted in the weather. He stood, brushed off hay, went to work. Marley found him 2 hours later, replacing boards on the equipment shed that didn't need replacing. Boss? Yeah. You sleep out here? Some. Anna okay? Rose checked her yesterday. Feed her better. She'll keep all her toes. That's good. Garrett hammered another nail, harder than necessary. You talked to her? Marley asked. Some. You gonna keep sleeping in the barn? Maybe. Marley was quiet for a minute. Then, running away don't fix nothing. I'm not running. I'm giving her space. That what you're calling it? Garrett set down the hammer, turned around. What do you want me to say? Marley? That I'm scared to be in the same house as her? That every time I look at her I see Sarah? That I don't trust myself not to say something else that makes her run? Yeah, that'd be honest. Fine. I'm terrified. Happy? Not particularly. Marley leaned against the shed. But at least you're admitting it. Garrett picked up the hammer again. I got work to do. So does she. She's been asking for you. That stopped him. What's she want? To know if you're coming back. Garrett looked at the house. Smoke rising from the chimney, Rose's truck in the drive. She'd stayed over, wouldn't leave Anna alone. Tell her I'll be in for lunch. You tell her. Marley, you're her father now. Act like it. Marley walked away. Garrett stood there holding a hammer, looking at a house he'd built 30 years ago with his own hands. 6 bedrooms, 3 baths, built for a family, 1 ghost inside now, 1 living girl, and him out here hammering boards that didn't need fixing. The weather shifted that afternoon. Temperature climbed to 40, snow started melting. Water dripped from the roof, ran in small rivers through the mud. Fall spring, Montana's cruel joke, give you hope, then freeze you solid a week later. Garrett walked the land, north pasture to south. Along the fence line Sarah had followed before she disappeared. Past the forest edge where he'd found Anna, the snow was receding. Patches of dead grass showing through, mud everywhere. He stood at the spot, looked at the tree where Anna had collapsed. The bark was darker where her back had rested. Small indentation in the earth. 2 weeks ago, he'd carried her out of here. 2 days ago, he'd carried her out again. History repeating, or trying to. He knelt, touched the ground. Cold mud, melting snow, life underneath, waiting. I couldn't save Sarah, he thought. Can't bring her back. Can't undo that day 15 years ago. Can't make different choices. But I can make sure Anna doesn't disappear. The realization settled in his chest. Heavy, real. He'd spent 15 years trying to resurrect a dead girl, keeping her room perfect, keeping her boots, keeping everything exactly as it was, so maybe, somehow, she'd walk back through the door. But Sarah was gone. Had been gone. Would stay gone. And Anna was here, alive, breathing, needing him not as a replacement, as herself. He stood, looked back at the house, yellow light in the kitchen window. Smoke rising steady from the chimney. Rose's truck was leaving. She waved as she passed, going back to town, leaving Anna alone, trusting him to come back. Garrett sat on a fence post, watched the sun lower toward the mountains. His father had built this ranch from nothing. Garrett had inherited it at 25 when a logging accident took the old man, built it up, expanded, made it profitable. 8,000 acres of Montana, worth millions now. Most successful operation in the county. And for what? He had land, cattle, money in the bank, but he'd been dead inside for 15 years. Dead men don't make good fathers. Dead men don't save children. Dead men just drift through days waiting for permission to stop breathing. I've been a dead man, he thought, and Anna deserves better than a corpse. The choice crystallized. He could keep being dead, keep sleeping in barns, and avoiding the house and pushing away anyone who got close. Or he could try. Try to be a father. Try to protect her. Try to fight a system that would take her away and put her in a foster home with strangers who didn't know her nightmares or how she liked her eggs or that horses made her smile. He'd fail. Probably. The state had rules, forms, bureaucracy. He was a single man with no legal relationship and a traumatized girl who'd been living with him illegally for 3 weeks. But Marley was right. And Rose was right. He had to try. Because not trying meant giving up. And giving up meant Anna disappeared into the system like Sarah had disappeared into snow. Gone. Erased. No way to find her. He stood, dusted off his jeans, started walking toward the house. The sun touched the mountains, orange light on snow, everything melting, changing, becoming something new. Halfway there, he looked up. Anna stood in the kitchen window, watching for him. When she saw him come in, she raised one hand, small wave. He stopped, lifted his hand, waved back. She smiled, just a little, then stepped away from the window. Garrett kept walking, boots squelching in mud, the house getting closer with each step. He'd been running for 2 days. Time to stop. Sheriff Hopper came with paperwork at dawn, but by then, Garrett Wade had already made his choice. Morning. 5 days since the town meeting. 2 days since Garrett had slept in the barn. Anna sat at the kitchen table, eating cereal. She looked up when he came in from feeding horses. Morning, she said. Careful. Testing. Morning. He poured coffee, sat across from her. First time in 2 days they'd been in the same room without Rose as buffer. Silence stretched. Not comfortable, but not hostile. Your feet okay? He asked. She nodded. Rose says they're healing good. That's good. More silence. Anna set down her spoon. Are you still mad at me? I was never mad at you. You seemed mad. I was mad at myself, and scared, and stupid. But never at you. She looked at him. Really? Really. You said I was a replacement. Garrett set his coffee down. I know. And I was wrong. You're not a replacement. You're not a do-over. You're Anna, and I want you here because you're you. Not because you fixed something in me. Understand? She nodded, slowly. Sheriff's coming back today, Garrett said. Probably with social services people. They're going to want to take you, put you in the system while they figure out what to do. Anna's face went tight. I don't want to go. I know. Can you stop them? Garrett leaned forward. I'm going to try. I'm going to tell them I want to keep you here. Maybe start adoption paperwork if that's what it takes. What if they say no? Then I'll fight harder. What if you lose? He reached across the table, put his hand over hers. Then I keep fighting. Court. Lawyers. Whatever it takes. Anna's eyes filled. You do that? Yes. Why? Because you're safe here. Because you belong here. Because... He stopped, swallowed. Because I already lost one daughter. I'm not losing two. The words sat there between them. Anna pulled her hand back, wiped her eyes. I'm not your daughter. Not legally, not yet. But you want me to be? Garrett nodded. If you want that too. She stared at her cereal. I never had a dad, just my stepdad, and he was... She didn't finish. I know. Real dads are supposed to protect you, keep you safe, not hurt you. Yeah. You think you could do that? Garrett's throat tightened. I can try. But you already messed up. With the boots. With what you said. I did. And I'll probably mess up again. Because I'm not perfect. But I'll keep trying. And I'll never... He stopped. Made sure she was looking at him. I'll never hurt you the way he did. I promise. Anna's chin trembled. People break promises. I won't. Well, you don't know that. Yes, I do. Because I'd rather die than hurt you like that. She searched his face, looking for the lie, finding none. Okay, she whispered. Okay, I want to stay. Garrett breathed out, felt something unlock in his chest. Then we fight, he said. Hopper's Bronco pulled up at 9. A second car followed, county plates. Woman in her 30s got out, carrying a briefcase. Garrett met them on the porch. Anna stayed inside, watching through the window. Morning, Garrett, Hopper said. This is Jennifer Moss, County Social Services. The woman offered her hand. Garrett shook it. Mr. Wade, I appreciate you taking care of Anna these past few weeks. She has a name? I'm aware. May we come in? Garrett didn't move. What's this about? We need to discuss Anna's placement, Jennifer said. Professional, kind, but firm. She can't remain here without proper custody arrangements. I'm starting those arrangements. That's good, but it's a process. Background checks, home studies, interviews, it takes time. In the interim, Anna needs to be placed in licensed foster care. She's in foster care. Here. You're not a licensed foster parent, Mr. Wade. So license me. Jennifer glanced at Hopper. It doesn't work that way. Why not? Because there are protocols, safety measures. We need to ensure she's safe here. I believe you. But the state requires, the state can. Garrett stopped himself, took a breath. How long? How long what? The process. If I file for adoption today, how long before she can stay? Jennifer shifted her briefcase. 6 months, maybe longer, and that's if you're approved. Yeah, what if I'm not? Then Anna would be placed elsewhere permanently. Garrett's jaw set. 6 months she's in the system, with strangers after what she's been through. We place children with experienced, vetted families. She doesn't need vetted families. She needs stability. She's got it here. Jennifer's voice stayed calm. Wade, I understand your attachment, but legally you have no standing. Anna's a ward of the state until we locate her biological family, or her stepfather's a drunk who beat her and threw her out to die. We're investigating that. If it's substantiated, he'll face charges. But until then, you want to put her somewhere else? Make her start over with new people? New rules? When she's finally feeling safe? I want to follow the law. The law's wrong. Hopper stepped in. Garrett, nobody's saying you've done wrong, but Ms. Moss has a job to do. Her job is to protect kids. Anna's protected here. Jennifer adjusted her briefcase. I need to speak with Anna, alone. No. Mr. Wade, you want to talk to her? I'm in the room. That's not appropriate. She needs to feel free to... The front door opened. Anna stepped out onto the porch, wearing Sarah's boots, her borrowed clothes, hair pulled back, small but present. I can talk, she said. Quiet. Everyone turned. Anna, Garrett started. It's okay. She looked at Jennifer. You want to ask me questions? Jennifer softened slightly. Yes, honey. Just to make sure you're okay. I'm okay. I need to hear it in your own words. Can we sit inside? Anna glanced at Garrett. He nodded. They went inside. Jennifer, Anna, Hopper. Garrett stood by the door, arms crossed. Jennifer sat at the kitchen table. Anna sat across from her. Anna, I'm Jennifer. I work for the county. My job is to make sure you're safe and taken care of. Can you tell me how you've been treated here? Anna's hands folded in her lap. Good. Has Mr. Wade hurt you in any way? No. Has he made you uncomfortable? Said anything inappropriate? No. Do you feel safe here? Anna nodded. I need you to say it out loud, honey. Yes, I feel safe. Jennifer wrote something down. That's good. But you understand that you can't stay here permanently without proper arrangements? Anna's voice stayed steady. Why not? Because there are rules to protect children like you. I don't need protection from Garrett. I need protection from my stepdad. And Garrett gave me that. I understand, but do you? Anna leaned forward. Do you know what it's like to be thrown outside in winter? To walk until your feet go numb? To think you're gonna die and nobody cares? Jennifer's expression shifted. No, I don't. Garrett cared. He found me. He saved me. He gave me food and clothes and a room, and he didn't have to do any of it. He just did it because I needed help. That's wonderful, and I know I'm not his real daughter. I know he had one before, and she died, and that's sad and awful. But he told me I'm not a replacement. He told me I'm me, and he wants me to stay, and I want to stay, so why can't I? Jennifer set down her pen. Because the law says you need proper custody arrangements, and that takes time. Anna looked at Garrett, then back at Jennifer. If I go to foster care, Anna said, and it takes 6 months, and then you decide Garrett's not good enough, what happens to me? You'd be placed with another family. Another strange family, who doesn't know me, who I'd have to trust from zero again. Yes. And if that doesn't work out, we'd try again. Anna's voice hardened. So I just get passed around until somebody wants to keep me? Jennifer had no answer. Anna stood. I want to stay here, with Garrett. And if that's not legal, then make it legal. But don't take me away just because paperwork isn't done. She walked out of the kitchen, up the stairs. Her door closed quietly, silence in the kitchen. Jennifer looked at Hopper. She's articulate. She's honest, Hopper said. Jennifer gathered her papers, looked at Garrett. Mr. Wade. File the adoption paperwork today. I'll expedite what I can, but I can't promise anything. What about now? Can she stay? Technically no, but Jennifer glanced toward the stairs. I'll give you 30 days, conditional placement. If you file the paperwork, submit to background checks, and allow weekly home visits. Done. If anything changes, if there's any indication of harm or negligence, she goes into the system immediately. Understood. Jennifer stood. I'll be back next week. She left. Hopper lingered. You got lucky, Hopper said. That wasn't luck. That was Anna. She's a fighter. Yeah. Hopper put his hat on. Don't make me regret this, Garrett. I won't. Hopper walked out. His Bronco followed Jennifer's sedan down the drive. Garrett stood in the empty kitchen, then climbed the stairs, knocked on Anna's door. Come in. She sat on the bed, hands in her lap, trying not to cry. Garrett sat beside her. You did good down there. Did it work? Yeah. We've got 30 days, then we see. 30 days? To file paperwork. Prove I'm serious. Show them you're safe here. Anna wiped her eyes. What if it's not enough? Then we keep fighting. But we do it together, okay? She nodded, leaned against him, small weight against his side. Garrett put his arm around her, awkward, unpracticed. But there. Garrett? Yeah? When you said you already lost one daughter, did you mean it? He looked down at her. Yeah. So you're my daughter, if you want to be. Not on paper yet, but here. He touched his chest. Where it counts. Anna's face crumpled. She buried her face in his shoulder, crying. Not sad. Something else. Relief. Release. Being chosen. Garrett held her, let her cry. Didn't try to fix it with words. Outside, the false spring continued. Snow melting, mud everywhere. Green things pushing through frozen earth. Inside, two broken people held each other. Not fixed, not healed, but together, and that was enough. That evening, they planted a tree. Marley brought it, a young pine, 6 feet tall, roots wrapped in burlap, set it in the truck bed, and helped Garrett carry it to the spot. The place where Garrett had found Anna. The tree she'd collapsed against. Anna watched from the porch, wearing her coat and boots. What are you doing? She called. Come see, Garrett said. She walked over, looked at the tree. The hole Marley was digging, the fresh earth piling up. We're planting this, Garrett said, so we remember. Remember what? The day I found you, the day things changed. Anna touched the pine needles. Why here? Because this is where your story started. Our story, and trees last. Long after we're gone, this'll still be here. Marley finished the hole. Together, they lowered the tree in, packed earth around the roots. Anna helped, pushing dirt with her hands, getting mud under her fingernails. When it was done, Garrett stepped back. The tree stood straight, small but alive. There, Marley said. That'll do. Anna looked at Garrett. Will it grow? Yeah, it'll grow. How big? Big. 50 feet, maybe. 100 years from now, people will see it and wonder how it got here. And we'll be gone. Yeah, but the tree won't. And maybe that's enough. Anna stood beside him, father and daughter, watching a tree, waiting for it to prove it would survive. Garrett? Yeah? Thank you for finding me. His throat closed up. Thank you for letting me. She took his hand, small fingers in his rough palm. Marley cleared his throat. I'm gonna head out. You two good? We're good, Garrett said. Marley drove away. Garrett and Anna stood in the mud, watching the tree, watching the sun set behind the mountains. The boots on her feet, Sarah's boots, pressed into soft earth, leaving prints that wouldn't disappear this time. Come on, Garrett said. Let's go home. And they walked back to the house together, side by side, father and daughter, not by blood, not by law, not yet, but by choice. And in the end, that was the only thing that mattered. Spring came slow that year, but it came. 3 months later, April. The adoption hearing was scheduled for June, background checks done, home study completed. Jennifer Moss had visited 4 times, each time leaving with fewer concerns. Judge would decide soon. 30 days had turned into 90. Conditional placement extended. Anna was still here. Morning sun on melting snow, mud season. The pine tree they'd planted had survived winter, new growth pushing from its branches. Anna came downstairs wearing the boots. Brown leather, scuffed now from 3 months of wear. They fit her like they'd always been hers. Can we walk? She asked. Yeah, where to? The tree. They walked the quarter-mile to the forest edge. Garrett's boots and Anna's boots side by side in the mud, leaving tracks that wouldn't disappear. The spot looked different now. Grass pushing through wet earth. Early wildflowers. The pine tree standing straight, small but alive. Anna touched its branches. It's growing. Told you it would. She looked at the place where she'd collapsed 3 months ago. No snow, no death, just life returning. I don't remember that night, she said. Not really. Just cold, and then warm, and then you. That's okay. But I remember you finding me. She looked up at him. I remember thinking someone finally saw me. Garrett's throat tightened. I'll always find you. Promise? Promise, she nodded, satisfied. Then, Garrett, yeah? When the judge decides, what if he says no? Then we try again, and again, until they can't say no anymore. But what if, Anna, he crouched down to her level, no matter what happens, you're my daughter, paper or no paper, judge or no judge, that doesn't change. She threw her arms around his neck, held tight. He held her back, still awkward, still learning, but there. After a minute, she pulled back. Race you to the house. You'll win. I know. She grinned and took off running. Garrett stood, watched her run, the boots on her feet, Sarah's boots, carrying her forward, not replacing Sarah, just living. He started walking, let her win. At the house, Rose's truck was pulling in. Marley sat on the porch, coffee in hand. Anna reached them first, breathless. Rose, you're early. Couldn't stay away. Rose pulled groceries from the truck. Thought I'd make dinner, if that's okay with your dad. Anna beamed at the word, ran to help carry bags. Garrett reached the porch. Marley handed him coffee. She's doing good, Marley said. Yeah. So are you. Garrett watched Anna and Rose disappear into the house. Heard laughter from the kitchen, his land, his people, his daughter. 3 months ago, he'd been a dead man. Now he was waking up. Some footprints disappear, he thought. Some become roads. He looked at the ground. Anna's boot prints in the mud. Small but permanent, leading to the house, leading home. Sarah's footprints had disappeared into snow 15 years ago. He'd searched, never found them, never stopped looking. Anna's footprints were here, visible, real. He couldn't save Sarah. But maybe, just maybe, Anna had saved him. Rose appeared at the door. Garrett, you gonna stand there all day? He smiled, first real smile in 15 years. Felt strange on his face. Felt right. Coming. He climbed the porch steps. Marley followed him in. Inside, Anna was setting the table. 4 plates, 4 forks, 4 glasses, family. Not the one he'd lost, but the one he'd found. The screen door creaked shut behind him. Wind quiet outside. Birds singing. Spring sounds. Garrett hung his hat on the hook, looked at the 3 people in his kitchen. Anna caught his eye, smiled. He smiled back. Winter's over.